With Into the Light in full swing and Onslaught taking up 99% of my playtime, I wanted to take a moment to pause, step back, and remind everyone, including myself, that the final shape is just 7 weeks away. While that may seem like an eternity, between Onslaught farming and the upcoming Pantheon boss gauntlet, final shape will be here before you know it. And with Bungie announcing that we have just 3 days to be raid ready, prepping ahead of time has never been more important than now. So in today's video, we'll be covering everything you need to know to prepare for the final shape, including bounty prep, maximizing power leveling, and spending resources before they go away forever. I'm Above, and if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into it. Starting things off, let's head over to Destiny Recipes. This is a tool that I've used for several years now, allowing you to track recommended resources, your completed bounties on each character, XP sources you've yet to complete, your projected final season pass level, and even the number of artifact mods you'll have unlocked when the final shape drops on June 4th. To start, simply link your Bungie account on the top right, then head over to the checklist tab to begin tracking your progress. And as you can see here, I have a prep score of 904, which indicates that I'm pretty well prepared for the upcoming expansion. This score is a culmination of your stored XP and the materials we mentioned earlier, and we'll be breaking down how to min-max each area as efficiently as possible. Now, I can already hear the frickin' content creators, bro. This is why you complain about having nothing to do. So I want to clarify why we do this. It's not about maxing out season pass rewards or burning through final shape content as fast as we can. It's about storing as much XP as possible to unlock high value artifact mods that can help you in the Legend campaign and especially the Day 1 raid race. We have just 3 days to complete the Legend campaign, meet the raid's power requirement, unlock new artifact mods, test new builds, and chase new exotics. So the more we can prepare ahead of time by eliminating monotonous XP grinding, the more we can focus on the new and exciting stuff when the final shape actually arrives. Let's start by heading over to stored XP. As you can see here, I'm currently on track to be level 15 in the Seasons Pass the second I land in the tower on launch day. And what's crazy about this is I still have a long way to go with my bounty prep. This takes your current completed bounties and multiplies it by the 20% Season Pass XP boost, the 12% blinding light bonus on your ghost, and well-rested buffs that are taken into account to calculate a total stored XP amount. If you click Show Bounties, it will reveal every completed bounty currently stored in your quest inventory. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys to death by going over every single bounty and their source, but we are going to highlight key bounties and their vendor rotations to make sure you get the most out of your time. First things first, we want to prioritize weekly bounties as much as possible. These grant 12,000 XP and are shown as XP++ in-game. In total, we have 28 weekly bounties to collect, some of which are on a 6-week rotation, which is why we're starting now. This includes 8 clan bounties, 7 Dreaming City bounties, 6 from rotating Ascendant challenges, and 1 from Blindwell, 4 Europa bounties, 3 from rotating Empire hunts, and 1 from completing Lost Sectors, 4 Moon bounties, 2 from the Lectern, and 2 from Eris, 2 from Shahan on the Cosmodrome, 1 from the Star Horse, and 1 from Neomuna. With that said, some weekly bounties are much more time consuming to complete than others, such as completing 10 Gambit matches with clanmates on each character, so you'll have to decide which ones are worth your time. The goal here is to complete as many weekly bounties as possible and supplement the rest of your quest inventory with daily bounties at 6,000 XP each. So if you decide that a certain clan bounty just isn't worth it for you, simply take the XP loss and do a daily bounty instead. Most of the weekly bounties aren't too difficult to complete, but I do have a few tips, tricks, and important notes that can save you a ton of time. Starting with the Dreaming City bounties, the Ascendant challenges are on a 6-week rotation. So in order to complete all of them before the final shape, you'll need to start collecting these on April 23rd, which is the upcoming weekly reset. The same thing goes for clan bounties. There are 8 of them in total, many of which appear randomly in Hawthorne's inventory week to week, so make sure to check for any new ones each time they come around. Bungie noted that Hawthorne will be changing in the final shape, but after reading into this a bit further, it appears that they'll only be adding bounties or making some more accessible, not taking any away, so you should be safe to keep these in your inventory. When doing the Empire Hunt weeklies that specify a precision kill and completion requirement, you can actually just speedrun the normal difficulty and then load up the most challenging version, Sparrow into a new load zone, and all of the enemies will become standard patrol difficulty, but give you insane bounty progression per kill. The moon bounties can be sped up significantly as well by loading into a nightmare hunt and then making your way over to the Altar of Sorrows. Since the bounties only specify that you need to kill nightmares in nightmare hunts or lost sectors and not actually finish a nightmare hunt specifically, this means we can work on completing a nightmare hunt and Altar of Sorrow bounties at the same time. And for some reason, you don't actually need to be in a lost sector for this bounty to progress, so simply head over to the Altar of Sorrows and complete all 3 of them at the same time. The rest of your weekly bounties are pretty straightforward, so there's no additional notes here. As for daily bounties, you want to focus on completing 8 of them from each primary vendor, including Shax, Zavala, the Drifter, and the Gunsmith. This takes us to 60 total bounties between the weeklies and vendor dailies, which means all we have to do is pick up 3 literally anywhere else. Bungie used to penalize us for completing vendor dailies early, which is why I actually used to recommend planetary bounties to avoid this issue. But this has actually been changed, and each of them will now count as a powerful drop in the final shape. And the cool part is that you can turn these bounties in right away and simply leave the powerful reward at the vendor for after you've completed the legend campaign. And it is at this point that you can head over to each vendor and pick them up, as these rewards will scale with your current power level. The last thing to note is that you'll want to max out 2 characters with 63 bounties and leave 3 open quest slots on your main character to account for seasonal, artifact, and final shape quests when you load into the tower on June 4th. Everything else on Destiny recipes is fairly self-explanatory, including the resources section, which showcases how many endgame materials you should have and how much vault space they recommend for new weapons and armor when the DLC drops. And there are several things that Destiny recipes doesn't show that are also extremely important. Legendary shards are being removed from the game entirely on June 4th, which means we need to find ways to spend them before they go away forever. So with legendary shards being removed, Glimmer will now become one of the most important currencies in the game, likely replacing everything that legendary shards are currently used for. So I highly recommend stocking up on raid banners first, and then heading over to the lectern on the moon to purchase as many phantasmal fragments as possible. These can be exchanged for Glimmer at Rahul in the tower, which means we can pull these from our vault whenever we need them and never be short on Glimmer. Now that we've got our prep out of the way, it's time to talk about what you should do when the final shape drops. You'll want to start by loading in on your main character and complete the opening mission of the DLC. As with previous expansions, this will give you access to the seasonal artifact, at which point you should group up with your fire team and begin turning in your bounties. You'll just want to make sure that you have the blinding light mod equipped on your ghost and that your shared wisdom buff is active amongst your fire team to increase your XP gains even further. From there, you can hop on your alt characters, rejoin your fire team, and do the same thing 2 more times. And now that we've got our bounties out of the way, you can go back to your first character and start doing whatever you want. This is your DLC to explore, so get out there and have fun with the new content, testing out those brand new artifact mods you've unlocked nice and early. The power grind shouldn't be too intense for those who participate in the legendary campaign, as this is a guaranteed way to get your light level up to soft cap, so I tend to start with that and then supplement with powerful drops that we've unlocked early from each of the main vendors. And I'd imagine that since we only have 3 days to prepare this time around, they'll make the grind even more accessible, which means you can spend more time testing new builds and enjoying the new content. Well guys, that's gonna do it for the video. I'm extremely hyped for the final shape and hope this guide helps you prepare as much as possible. If you enjoyed, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated, and be sure to leave a comment down below regarding any other topics you want to see me cover leading up to the final shape. I also want to give a special thank you to Buddy and Snurb for helping with the production of this video, as many of these tips and tricks are very time consuming to figure out, so I hope you guys enjoyed them. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!